Hello, welcome to the Armenian Museum of America. I'm Gary Lynn Sananian, the curator, and today I'd like to share some stories about coffee with you. Now, we all drink coffee, Starbucks, etc. And coffee was very important in Armenian culture, and any foreigner, when they mention Armenians, they always talk about how they would serve them coffee. The thing is coffee actually was pretty expensive. It was imported from Ethiopia, where it was first discovered. And so as a result, you couldn't afford to drink it every day. But if you had guests, you wanted to honor your guests, so you would serve coffee to them, which was a big deal. And to make the coffee, everybody had these jezvirs in their homes. Every Armenian home in America has one. And these are the kinds you would buy at Middle Eastern markets, usually brass. These are the kinds you would find in Hayastan, which were made in the factories there. And some of these ones here have the name Armenia on them, etc., as souvenirs. And these are souvenirs brought to America by people. And of course, to make coffee, what you do is you take the coffee, you put the coffee in there, you put it on the thing there, you let it boil till it all foams up. When the foam reaches the top, you take it off, let it cool down, put it down again, it foams up again, take it off, and then the third time, 3 times. And then after the third time, then you're ready to serve the coffee to your guests. And coffee has a long association in Armenia with Armenians. After the siege of Vienna, and the collapse of the Ottoman advance into Europe, many Armenian traders took coffee beans and they introduced them to Europe, and they opened coffee shops in Prague and London and Paris. And coffee became a drink of the intellectual class. It was very important because if you're drinking beer, after a while, or alcohol, after a while, you're not really functioning well. But with coffee, you stay sharp. And so for businessmen who are negotiating, you want to stay, you want to get your customer drunk, the other guy, but you want to stay sharp yourself, so you drink coffee. And it became a uniform. Pascal the Armenian was the first one to introduce coffee into Paris. And he always dressed like an Armenian, of course. And so all his employees dressed like Armenians too, to show that they worked at Pascal's coffee house. And it became the uniform for coffee employees. And so if you have any coffee houses in Europe for 2 centuries, they always dress like Armenians as a giveaway that this guy works at the coffee house. So it was sort of, the same way that somebody at a Long John Silver might dress like a pirate. It became the occupational uniform for coffee servers, dressing like Armenians. And in Armenia itself, all kinds of rituals associated with coffee. One of my favorite is the one associated with negotiating for a bride. Okay, so a family has a young man who's ready of marriage age. Marriage age was pretty young, usually between 13 and 16. And so they want their son, they want to start looking for a bride for the boy. And so the women start asking around the neighborhood which girls are available, which ones are unmarried, what are their families like. They'll make sure to follow them into the bathhouse to look at them when they're undressed, to make sure there's no physical problems with the girl, she looks physically fit, okay? Can she bear children? That's the most important thing. Does she look like she can carry kids? Yes. Okay. So then one day, one of the girl's family gets a knock on the door. You open the door, and it's the boy's parents, and the boy's uncle, and the boy's aunt, and the boy's grandmother. They bring the whole family. And come in. And you welcome them in, and you serve them coffee. And you make sure you have your daughter serve them coffee, because you know what's going on. Everybody in the neighborhood knows what's going on. They've been looking for a bride, so they must have decided that your daughter is suitable for them. So the bride serves them all, and so all of them can look over the girl very carefully. She serves her the coffee, and then she goes in the back, and you talk, and you just talk, you socialize. You talk about the weather, you talk about the cattle, you talk about this, that, but you never talk about marriage. That's the one thing you don't address. And so you're basically talking in circles about this. Well, eventually it's, look at the time, we've got to go now. So then the father of the girl will say, daughter, why don't you serve them one last coffee? And then he goes into the kitchen with the daughter who's making the coffee. They whisper together. And then the daughter brings out the coffee again. She pours the coffee to each person. So each person is sitting there. Then they all sip their cup. Oh. Then they put the cup down, thank you, and they leave. But nothing was ever said about any kind of wedding. The coffee was the answer. When you drank the coffee, if it was straight coffee, no sugar, it was bitter, which means don't bother ask because we're going to say no. So you want to save face, so you just leave. However, if you drink the coffee and it's sweet, oh, she put sugar in it. That means we're willing to negotiate. Come back and we'll talk. But the whole thing is, this was never said aloud. You all, by keeping it all quiet and all, we just haven't come in for coffee. It's the only reason we came there for coffee. Everybody saves face, and face was very important. The reputation of the family was very important. This is how I did it. There are many other customs too, but I really like that one there. It's so charming. Anyhow, the Armenian Museum is here to share our history, our culture, and our stories with you, the public. This is the 50th anniversary of the Armenian Museum, and there's no better time to join. If you go onto our website at armenianmuseum.org/membership, you'll find out details. If you go onto the website, you'll also find out all kinds of other activities the museum is engaged in, the exhibits, the concerts, the other activities. Please check us out. Thank you for joining us. We hope you'll join us again, and until then, stay safe.